Nothing changes if nothing changes. In this video, I'm going to share with you an epiphany that I had which completely changed my life. It allowed me to transform my body, it allowed me to reclaim control over my mind, and it allowed me to build a business. If you take the strategies and the mindset within this video, you can completely change your life. This video will be about 15 minutes long. If you can't sit through a 15-minute YouTube video which will change your life, then there's no point in even trying. That being said, let's get into the video. There's something you need to understand, and honestly, this took me way too damn long to understand, but once I figured this out, it did change a lot for me, and that is that your actions are the catalyst for your results. Once I truly understood the fact that your actions are the catalyst for your results, I was able to unlock a huge amount of growth, a huge amount of potential. And you might say to yourself, yeah, I understand this, yeah, I believe this, but do your actions truly align with the fact that you believe this statement? Because all well and good to say, yeah, I understand that, I get that, but are you actually acting in accordance to the belief that your actions are the catalyst for your results? So when we look at action is influenced by 3 different variables, and it's pretty important to understand these variables. So the first variable that is going to influence your action is going to be the beliefs that you hold. So for example, if you believe that the sun gives you cancer, going outside and exposing your skin to the sun gives you cancer, then you're probably going to avoid the sun at all costs. You're going to, stay indoors as much as possible. And then your result is whatever the result of not spending any time in the sun will be. You'll probably be pale, you probably won't get cancer. You'll probably, look like someone who's never seen the sun. On the other hand, if you believe that the sun was life force and life energy, and you need to spend as much time in the sun as possible, then you're probably going to spend a whole lot of time in the sun. And then as a result, maybe you look like a dried apricot, right? You look like someone who spends all day in the sun. Now, I'm not sure what happens when you spend all day in the sun. I'm not sure what happens when you spend 0 time in the sun, but your beliefs will certainly influence the action that you take. The second thing is mindset. So if you had, for example, an abundance mindset, if you believe that everything was abundant in life and you were able to acquire, to access anything at all times, then you probably act in accordance to that mindset, right? Maybe that means that you take more risks on yourself. Maybe that means that you spend more money. Maybe that means that you get to experience things as if you had the abundance. Whereas if someone had a scarcity mindset, if they believed that, they need to hold on to what they got and it could all be taken from them at any moment, then they'll be living with that scarcity mindset. They won't take any risks. They'll do everything to protect what they have at all costs, and they'll live that way. These people could be in the exact same position, but simply their mindset is going to influence the action that they take. The third thing is the knowledge that you have. So, for example, if you grew up in a small fishing village in Finland, right? I don't know if there are fishing villages in Finland, but assume they are. Then, all you know is how to fish and how to sell fish, then you might think, well, the only way that I can get really rich is by fishing and selling fish. So what do? You fish more and you sell fish, assuming you want to become rich. Someone who understands that, well, I could sell products online and I could, build a personal brand and then sell products, or I could sell courses, I could do these things, that might influence their action. Then they might start selling products online, they might selling courses, and they would get the results associated with that. But all of these 3 things are going to influence the action that you take. And as a consequence, the action that you take is going to influence the results that you get. However, let's say I had, a great mindset and I had a lot of knowledge, but I had no beliefs. That's physically impossible, but let's just say you had, or you didn't spend any time on your beliefs, right? Your beliefs were kind of non-existent. Well, what will happen is you'll still take the action and you'll still get some results, right? Same thing if you had all these beliefs and all this knowledge, but you had 0 mindset or limited mindset, but you still took action, you would still get results, right? And if you had amazing beliefs and an amazing mindset, but you knew nothing, right? You could still take action and you would still get results. However, if you had the best beliefs in the world, you had the best mindset in the world, and you had all the knowledge in the world, but you took no action, nothing would happen. Everything would stay the exact same. You would be in the exact same position today as you will be next week, and as you will be next year, and as you will be in a decade's time. Nothing will change, because at the end of the day, the action is the catalyst for the result. Without action, nothing can happen. I don't care how good your beliefs are. I don't care how good your mindset is. I don't care how much knowledge you have. If you take zero action, you will get zero results. And this played out in my life pretty heavily. So I used to work a corporate 9-to-5 job. I've known for a very, very long time prior to getting that job that I want to be an entrepreneur. Every day, I would wake up, I would get on my bike, and I would cycle to work. On my way to work, I would have earphones in, and I would be listening to Alex Hormozi's podcast, The Game. So every single day for an entire year, I would cycle into work while I was listening to Alex Hormozi, trying to learn how to become an entrepreneur, right? Guess what I never did? I never started a business. I never built anything. So I was cycling on my way to work, listening to how to scale a 50-person sales team when I didn't even have a damn product. Like, what use is it knowing how to scale a 50-person sales team, having all the knowledge in the world, if you don't have anything to sell, if you've taken no action to even take the first step there? A lot of us are just sitting there paralyzed in fear, and we acquire all this knowledge, we spend all this time building an amazing mindset and creating all these positive beliefs, but we never take the action. And the action is the catalyst for the result. If you take no action, nothing will happen. And you'll end up just like me, knowing how to scale to a 50-person sales team, but not even having a damn product. If you guys are digital entrepreneurs and you would like help removing your distractions so you can take more action, so you can focus on growing yourself and your business, then I have a link in the description below. You can click that and check that out. Otherwise, let's keep going with the video. So the next thing we have is regret. Now, there are two forms of regret that you can have in your life. The first type of regret you can get is from action. And the second type of regret that you can have is from inaction. Understanding this has honestly been one of the most impactful things on my life. Understanding the difference between regret from action and regret from inaction has probably made more of a change than anything else in my life. So the regret that you can get from action, there's no guarantee in that. There's no guarantee that you're going to regret an action that you take, right? If you start a YouTube channel, there's no guarantee that you're going to regret starting a YouTube channel. But in 10 years' time, if you're thinking, well, I could have created a YouTube channel, but I was too scared to do it, you're guaranteed to feel that regret. You're nearly guaranteed to feel some form of regret for not taking action. So there's a guarantee if you take no action, but there's no guarantee if you actually take the action that you're going to regret the outcome. Now let's think about what regret you actually receive from taking action. When you take action, the regret that you're going to receive is potentially you're going to feel embarrassed. You're going to think, all these people think these bad things about me. That's so sad. Or you feel shameful about what you did. Or you're mad that you've lost all this time. This was 6 months of work. This is the end of the world, right? So this is the kind of regret you're going to feel. The embarrassment, the shame, the lost time, right? Then you have the regret from inaction. This is a guarantee. You'll feel guilt. You'll feel guilty that I could have just done something, but I didn't. I chose to sit in fear, to be paralyzed, to not take any action. I felt guilty, and that makes me pretty regretful. You have all of this wasted potential. You had all this opportunity to do something great, but you took no action. You lost that potential, and you feel like you've wasted your life. The next one is living passively. I can definitely relate to this, is when you don't take action, when you don't take control, people take control for you. Decisions get made, but you're just not the one making them. You end up living passively. You end up living other people's dreams. You end up living other people's lives, not living your own life. And of course, that is going to not feel great. You're going to feel quite a bit of regret from doing that. And the last one is watching others achieve your dreams, right? You have to sit there in the passenger seat while someone takes control of your life and you have to watch as other people achieve the dreams that you want to achieve. That is the kind of regret that you receive from not taking action. So tell me, which one would you rather receive? Would you rather have regret from taking action, okay, and maybe it doesn't work? There's no guarantee that it doesn't work. There's a good chance that it does work, but maybe you feel regretful and that regret is a bit of embarrassment and you lost some time? Or would you rather not take any action and be guaranteed to feel guilty, to feel like you've wasted your potential, to feel like you're living passively and feel like you're watching others achieve your dreams? Which one would you prefer to be in? I certainly know which one I prefer to be in. And I remember this very, very vividly. So I was on my way to work. I would have to basically wake up middle of winter in Melbourne. Okay, it's probably 3 degrees Celsius. I get on my bike. I can barely even feel my fingers. Like I'm absolutely freezing to death. Cycling the 50-minute cycle I had to do. I have my, backpack on my back with my books and my laptop and my change of clothes. And I'm cycling to work, listening to my Alex Hormozy podcast. And in my social life, everyone thinks, oh, he's so cool. He's working on Collins Street, which is like a major business street in Melbourne. He's got his corporate job on Collins Street. Oh, he's doing so well. But for me, I knew I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm currently living out someone else's dream. For me to continue to do what I do, I would be guaranteeing that I don't achieve what I want to achieve. At least if I actually tried, at least if I gave this online business thing a go, then there's a chance that I'm going to succeed. There's a chance that I'm going to hit my dreams. But if I continue to do nothing, if I continue to live the way I'm currently living, then I'm guaranteed to fail. I'm guaranteed to feel like I wasted my potential. I'm guaranteed to feel like I'm living passively. I'm guaranteed to feel like I'm watching others achieve my dreams. And it's not something I wanted. And when I realized that I would be guaranteeing failure if I continued doing what I'm doing and not taking action, or at least I could take action and give myself a chance, that was what pushed me over the edge to make the decision to go all in, to start an online business, to start becoming an entrepreneur, an online entrepreneur. That's what this all came down to, was that I did not want to sit there and regret not taking action. I would rather regret taking action, have some embarrassment. People might say some bad things about me. I might lose some time. I would much prefer that than feeling like I've wasted my potential. And I came to quite an interesting realization recently, which is that a lot of the problems that we have in our life right now are perceived problems. Like a lot of the problems in the Western world aren't actually real. They're all in your head. Problems outside of, am I going to starve to death? Do I have a roof over my head? Do I have somewhere to sleep? Am I going to die? Are my family going to die? Outside of those reasons, everything else is kind of going on in your head. A lot of the reason that you're not taking action is you're worried about how people might think of you. You're worried about, am I going to fall behind? Am I not going to be as far ahead of other people? You're worried about basically what other people think, and you've manufactured that in your head because there's no guarantee that people are going to think a certain way about you. You just preconceive what people's judgments are going to be of you. But all of this is manufactured in your head. All of the real problems do not exist in the Western world. You're not going to starve to death. You're not going to die. You're not going to not have a roof over your head. All of these problems are manufactured in your head. They're pulling you back and preventing you from taking the action to achieve who you want to become. So that was the end of the video. Please, please, please take some action. If the definition of learning is same condition, different behavior, and you finish watching this video and you don't change your behaviors at all, then you haven't learned anything. So make sure you actually take some action. I appreciate you for watching the whole video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.